Huey, how are you?
Good. How are you, Nick?
I'm very well, thank you. Whereabouts are you at the moment?
San Francisco.
Oh, okay. You sort of between touring at the moment?
Yeah, we're actually making a record, believe it or not.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you about that. I mean, I think 2001 was the last studio album that you guys put out. How's it sounding?
We make a record religiously every 10 years, and we visit Australia every 20.
Yeah, right. So how's it sounding?
I think it's fabulous.
Yeah.
I really do, to my ears, but, it's early days yet.
So is it going to be the quintessential sound, do you think, or are you trying anything new?
Well, we're actually got a little gimmick on this one. I'm loath to tell you about it because you'll break the news and it'll just
It'll be everywhere.
Pages of the New York Times tomorrow. But we cut in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yep.
We're doing some old stuff and some stack stuff and like that. So we're just cutting right now. But we really had a ball down there, and we've written some things as well. So we'll see.
Terrific. Now, you are coming back to Australia. Have you been here many times over the years?
We've only been once,
Okay.
I'm embarrassed to say. But then again, we do only come every 20 years, and and our band's only 30 years old. So
Yeah.
This will be twice in 30 years.
What are your strongest memories of your trip here?
Well, the shows were great, and the place is great, and it's a bit like kind of like California used to be. I mean, compared to here, it's sort of more cheese, less rats.
Okay.
I know. I like the reduced population. I live in Montana, so
Yeah.
I like that way. Yeah.
There's a lot of space here if you're looking for it.
Yeah, I love that. I love the outdoors and the physical beauty of the place is fantastic.
Yeah. Tell me, how does touring with the News today compare to touring back in the 80s?
Well, let's see. We get a lot more sleep. But it's similar. We don't tour as much. We play sort of 75 shows a year.
Yeah.
And that seems about the right number because as long as you don't play 200 shows a year, it's like falling in love all over again.
Yeah.
You don't want to really take more than 2 weeks off, or you can kind of lose your chops a little bit, 2 or 3 weeks off. But then, but you don't want to stay on the road for more than 2 or 3 weeks anyway. Also, so
Yeah.
that's what we do. We sort of senior tour a little bit, and we actually we play better than ever, to be honest. And it's more about the music than it ever was.
Yeah. I mean, some of your songs, I suppose, are coming up on 3 decades old. What is it about the music that's still enjoyable for you as a performer to keep playing it?
Well, I don't know. Fortunately, I like our songs, and I think we were kind of anachronistic to begin with, in that it occurs to me that a lot of our tunes. My dad was a jazzer, and so I was always taught to write stuff that's not time sensitive, write sort of whatever it is, timeless stuff. So, and I always kind of try to do that. And it occurs to me that a lot of the songs we wrote in our, 20s and early 30s are actually way more appropriate for ripe old farts like us now. In terms of, we were sort of always we're always old fashioned, and now we're old enough to wear it.
Yeah.
So, and I think that helps. I mean, oddly enough, we never really were trendy, much as not because we wouldn't have been if we thought it would help. We started sort of 2 years prior to music television.
Yeah.
Of any sort, and so it was really more of an audio consideration for us. We weren't all that image conscious, for better or worse. I don't even have a tattoo. I don't even have a tattoo. Believe me. 5 years later, if we'd come up, I'd be tattooed from head to toe. If I thought it would help.
Is it? I suppose it's that sort of mindset that leads to a song like "Hip to Be Square."
Yeah, "Hip to Be Square" was there's a book called the bourgeois. What do they call themselves?
Like Bohemian.
Bourgeois. Bobos in Paradise.
Oh, okay.
Bourgeois Bohemians.
Yeah.
And it was a phenomenon here, which was after the hippie movement here in San Francisco. People were sort of dropping in like crazy, kind of like the Patrick Bateman thing,
Yeah.
What the
American Psycho.
What's that? The American Psycho.
Yeah.
I mean, the song was appropriate. They used it because the song was meant to sort of lampoon that.
Yeah.
But not everybody got the joke, I'm afraid.
Well, I was going to ask you about that, it being one of my favourite books. I mean, was it a strange honour to have a chapter dedicated to you in that book, being such a controversial book, I suppose, as well?
Yeah, it was neat, actually. And the guy knew his stuff, you know. He clearly knew his stuff, and I thought, boy, that's interesting. I didn't think another thing about it. And then, I mean, the story with that is that they asked us, would we, you know, contribute a song? And, you know, they pay us for it, of course, and everything. And I thought, sure, why not? And William Dafoe's in it, and it was very artistic.
Yes.
They told us there was going to be controversial scene. They were going to use it to be squared and all stuff. Told us about the scene. I said, well, whatever. You know, it's artistic. I'm all for it. And so
yeah.
Then what happened was on the eve of the release of the movie, they suddenly decided they were going to put out a soundtrack album, and they sent my manager a copy of the mock-up of the soundtrack and said, would we agree to be on it? And it was I was on the road, and he called me and told me this, and he says, and there was no mention of soundtrack, but when we first signed the deal, we gave him the song.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden they want a soundtrack, and there's only our song and like a Phil Collins song and a bunch of Source music. And my manager said, well, that's not right. You know, poor fans must pay $15 for one old song. No thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
And we begged off. And so they, on the eve of the release of the movie, literally the day before the premiere, they issued a huge press release to every media outlet that said that Huey Lewis had pulled his song from the soundtrack because he had judged the movie too violent.
Oh, okay.
And that really made me upset because I hadn't even seen the movie until then, you know. So
Yeah.
they tried to work me show business-wise, those Hollywood people. So I boycotted the movie. I've still not seen the movie.
Oh, okay. I suppose, looking at how the career of the band started, you guys released your self-titled debut, I think it was 1980, but it seemed it was the second record, Picture This, that really broke you guys into the mainstream.
Sort of. We had one hit. We had one hit, and we sold 250,000 copies at the time, which wasn't great at the time.
Yeah. What was it about those early records? I mean, I know it's obviously Sports is recognised as being one of the bigger albums. What was it about the early material that wasn't striking a chord, whereas it was other material did?
I'm not sure it was the material. I think it was our product. We're getting better at making the records as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the first record was sort of dashed off, and we wanted it to have this live feel. We kind of felt like if we just ran into the studio and did minimal takes, that it would sound live. And of course, and it didn't. It just sounded small. And so I think we figured that out, that when you're making a record, it's a technological consideration. So then we began to assemble the records and pay more attention to them. And because what we really needed was a hit record. And we were producing these things ourselves because we insisted on it. And we figured if anybody was going to make those commercial decisions, we wanted it to be us. And so, we began to figure out how to make the record. And Sports was the sort of, that was our best work, for the culmination of our ideas, which were, use drum machines. Sports, which sounds like a bar record, was actually assembled with machines and sequence bass in many cases, and overdub tops and overdub cymbal crashes, really put together piece by piece from the ground up. And our records that we're making now are anything but. We just recorded in Memphis 9 pieces live, capturing it in the studio. So we're zigging when it's zagging, But I think the key to our success for that stuff was we really learned how to make records better.
Yeah. I suppose.
I mean, and the songs were good. I mean, it's always about the song. Don't get me wrong, but we knew how to really realize the song's potential a little better, I think.
Yeah.